many hats you wear. Number one, you teach those who want to be artists. You hang out at the Park Trade Center, and you're an ArtPrize artist. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's talk about labels. What's the essence?
So basically, labels has a lot of different symbolism incorporated into the piece, starting out with the name of the piece, which is labels. Obviously, I put a lot of different shipping label types of information on the body itself, like the side up, contents may explode upon impact, things that you would find on packaging. And so when you look at the human form, the skin is the ultimate package, right? So it's kind of wordplay, and it really boils down to what we say to others and how our language impacts people. And so what we label people has an impact on us. So I've kind of done some playing around with the terminology and the symbolism, packaging and labels. And
What all went together to make this happen besides the barbed wire?
the barbed wire was fun. I actually had to find that out in a field somewhere. Putting it together it took about a year in between working and all of the other things I have going on. Started out with a concept and a sketch, and then I had to put it together, molding each piece out of ceramic and kiln firing it twice to get the glaze on it at the end. Have several pieces that didn't survive the firing because it's the shape of it and the thickness is varied in different locations, so sometimes it doesn't work very well in the kiln. So I have a graveyard of parts that didn't work, but for the most part, measuring it, trying to make it as true to life as possible, and the concept was easy. It was the putting it together that was a little more hard, a little more difficult.
Now, this is a female subject. Is there a theme with this as well?
No, it's mostly myself in
So this is you?
Yes. Yeah. So it's about me and not necessarily how words impact me, but people in general. But because I was available as a model to myself, I used myself for inspiration. So, I would measure my own legs to make the legs, and the hands are pretty close to my hands. So.
Let's talk about the backdrop. Is it the mosaic tile here?
Yeah, so it's all made out of glass and water. If you look at water, it often has a glass-like appearance. So the two seem to come together as appropriate for the backdrop. And glass is sharp and can cut you. And so my message of how words can impact people has another tie-in with the medium that I use. So glass and words cutting and beautiful all at the same time, right?
What about the heart?
Okay, so the heart is outside the body, and she's obviously reaching for it or relieving it, one of the two directions you can look at it. I kind of left that up to personal interpretation, but definitely a lot of symbolism with that. The heart is outside the body. It's the essence of being human, and then what can happen when you impact someone with words is it can hurt their heart. So a lot of different directions you can take that.
Again, back to the process. Does the tile come first? Does the lady come second?
The lady was first, and then the glass tile was last, and because it had to kind of move around the subject. So normal painting, you paint the background first and the foreground second, but with this I did the background last just because I had to make sure the body parts were in there perfectly. So.
You're also a photographer. Where do we see this in your art, or why don't we see this in your art?
Right. So photography has been a big part of my income, and also my past art has been photography that I've had in ArtPrize, and I've done pottery more as for self-fulfilling purposes, so it's more relaxing, meditative for me. So because this piece is so personal and the message is so personally connected to my inside thoughts, I wanted to use a medium that was more for myself versus something I would sell to the public.
Support for Kalamazoo Lively Arts is provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, helping to build and enrich the cultural life of Greater Kalamazoo.